Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at thewatchbox.com. I'd really appreciate it, and I'd be able to send watches like this in video form to your inbox as soon as tomorrow. If you like the watch, you can buy it on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on our website, thewatchbox.com. The timepiece on my wrist is the modern bestseller for Breitling. It's the Breitling Superocean Heritage, in this case the Superocean Heritage 42 on the Ocean Classic Mesh Bracelet. I'm high on these watches. They're handsome, they're functional, they're well made, solid, they're heirloom quality, and they have a timelessness to them in that they do borrow liberal amounts of style from the original Breitling 1004 dive watch of the 1950s. So a modern watch that's already time-tested. And this watch is easy to wear. Some modern Breitling watches are simply overwhelming in size and proportion. The 42 is more viable. This is more of a Rolex rival than an Hublot knockoff. As you can see, 42 millimeters in diameter, and that does not include the crown, but note the absence of crown guards on this vintage-inspired case. The timepiece is also reasonably slim, all things considered, 12.9 millimeters thick versus 12.6, 12.7 for a Submariner. So you can wear this watch with anything that fits over a Submariner. Dress cuffs are welcome. From lug to lug, that's the watch's largest dimension, 51.3 millimeters, but I find on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist there are no issues, and I would say the watch would sit well and look great on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference. The spacing of the lugs, should you wish to accessorize, is 22 millimeters, but you will appreciate this Ocean Classic bracelet and its vintage-inspired straight bars. That's how I would wear the watch. Now let's turn it over and take a quick look at what we're getting with this bracelet. The Ocean Classic and the Aero Classic are the same bracelet. I hope I'm not giving away any secrets, and because this one is stamped 2015, its year code indicates that this watch was made in roughly 2015. Now you'll note that the lug profiles are strong, but they do meet a small wrist halfway. There is a very tight downward reverse ducktail to the lugs themselves. You can see that they move straight down, but then they curve and hook, so that the watch is more inclined to wrap around the periphery of your wrist than flare out stridently like, say, a Carrera lug can. The timepiece features this gorgeous Ocean Classic mesh, and it's probably the most comfortable bracelet you will encounter. Omega has something similar to this with its shark-proof bracelet, but at the same time you have to pay for a Ploprof to get that bracelet. This is an outstanding value proposition. Silky smooth, infinite aeration through the small links. You'll also note that the bracelet itself is not quite what you might imagine, as it has sizable links removed by screws built into its composition. So if you wonder how you get the sizing of this right, well, it has conventional removable links, just like any bracelet would. You'll also note that there are some strap tool incremental adjustments if you do want to fine-tune in the field. The deployant clasp is a solid unit with a clamshell closure, so you have a measure of security. It's not friction fit. That clamshell will offer considerable peace of mind once the watch is on the wrist. Now the timepiece features a simple case profile. Since this is the Superocean Heritage, not the Superocean, we're going vintage. Strong but simple geometries and no crown guards. I have yet to see a crown sheared on one of these, and the line came out in 2007. Make no mistake, the crown guards are not necessary, and the crown itself becomes so much easier to grip when your hands are wet, sweaty, and gloved, because you don't have to deal with crown guard shoulders. The bezel is a wonderful, let's get close, off the wrist now, is a wonderful unidirectional rotating affair with a crisp action. It's up there with Rolex and the Panerai Luminor submersibles as one of what I believe to be the three most positive feeling and sounding bezels in the dive segment. Now you line up the index with the minute hand, now you've got an impromptu 0 to 60 minute timing organ. You will note the minimal calibration of the bezel, another vintage inspired element on this watch. I always find a dive bezel is better than a conventional chronograph, simply easier to read. One modern component is the use of a captured bezel. You'll see the screws in the flank of the case. These screws hold the bezel on the case, with the result that it is almost impossible to accidentally accidentally snap the bezel off. It's a durability feature that precious few companies use. The captured bezel being one of the real advantages of a Breitling timepiece. They are built tougher than tough. The timepiece also features a clever inset profile for the crown. As you can see, the lug hoods actually rise up a little bit higher than the mid case. They flank and they brace the bezel itself, so the bezel can be sunken into the plane of the lugs, allowing full lug forms for style, but also allowing the watch to be considerably thinner than if the bezel sat entirely on top of the plane of the lug. Thoughtfully done. Breitling sweated the details with this watch, mostly by keeping the details simple, and you can see that again on the dial. Vintage-inspired broad arrow hour hand, vintage-inspired but applied indices. There is plenty of luminova to see the watch day or night. There will be a lume shot, minimally calibrated, minimally adorned, and you've got to love that vintage Superocean script at 6 o'clock. Now these watches do feature a gold applied Breitling B. They do feature 200-meter water resistance. And yes, it's true, the standard Superoceans feature more, but after 100, really, who's counting? Now you turn the watch over and you can see that it is a solid caseback. People always ask about solid caseback watches. You can see this one covering Breitling caliber 17. What is caliber 17? Well, it is a chronometer grade ETA 2824 bidirectional winding, 38-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibrations per hour. It features both hacking seconds, so you can stop the seconds and synchronize to a reference timer, as well as, and we'll just double check that I'm not in the danger zone here. Okay, it wasn't the midnight turn. It also offers a quick set function for the dates you can rapidly correct. It features bidirectional winding too, so if you're put off by the unidirectional winding action of something like a V7750, this isn't going to give you any of that kind of rotor wobble. A screw down crown and a screwed in case back and short. Once again, 200 meters water resistant, you're good to go. COSC chronometer, precision, this is a tough and versatile watch that's equally precise, brains and brawn, and as I mentioned earlier, style that has already stood the test of time effectively since the 1950s. See this Breitling Superocean Heritage 42 on our website. And we're back with the Breitling Superocean Heritage 42. The only respect, and you can hear it but you can't see it, in which this is not an ideal modern diver, is the lack of a luminescent index on the bezel itself. Otherwise, you can see this one is great and green by night. See it by the light of day on our website.